Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Florence Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Sally Watts, and I am here today with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 other people. Say hi. We are safe distanced, and we are practicing great social stuff we're supposed to do with this COVID thing. So at this point, I'm going to ask everybody to rise where you are, and if you're home and you want to stand up and sing with us, that's fine too. We're going to sing Spirit of Life, pre-recorded by our friend Jeff Lovejoy. We love this song. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Oh, I do miss it when we don't have 70 people in here singing that song.
Yes.
But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So we have a few announcements. I want to thank all who participated in our annual celebration and planning retreat. And I think we had a good turnout. We've got many great ideas were shared, and your leadership team is busy trying to implement them as best we can. April 19th and April 26th, you are cordially invited to join Reverend Elizabeth. She has Meditative Monday sessions. Now you can link on, it's in the e-blast, and click that YouTube. I went on the earlier and found she had a couple of other Mondays meditations, so I listened to those. So starting on those Mondays, join Elizabeth for those Meditative Mondays. It's very nice. And next week we've got Tuvia. Tuvia has created a wonderful program in celebration of Earth Day. So be sure to listen in for that, okay? And the following week, after that, we start May with our theme of story, and Dean Schrock will be with us then. Are there any other announcements from you all? Not joys and concerns, but any announcements for the good of the order, shall we say? No? Okay. Then I'm going to invite Min to come on up. And as she lights this flame, I invite you to light your candle at home. When a flame is lit, it rises, light and warmth renewed once more. Each week we come to renew our souls, to bring a melting of hardened hearts, to spark a transformation, to find the creative impulse, to become once more ready to take inspiration into action. So may we light our chalice flame and yours at home. Thank you. Catherine, do you have some joys and concerns?
I do.
Okay.
I'm going to try this. Sally, put it on my... There we go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the time of our service when we remind ourselves what we need to each other. We are community.
Yes.
We are in relationship to each other. We are in service to each other, whether in the positive affirmation of prayer for another, our friendship extended through a phone call or a visit, or our decision every day to act as a loving part of the whole, radiating out as a living example of love and commitment to our community and the world. Sally will drop a shell
Yes, ma'am.
in the cleansing water of recognition. And we're going to start with a joy. This is for Evelyn Naylor Carson, had knee surgery. And it's been a bit of a bumpy ride with a little setback. She had a little fall, but she wants us to know that she is healing beautifully.
Good.
I'm really happy. Barbara McLean is now in Hubbard's retreat for 30 days, recovering from her health issue. Now, I don't actually know what they ever called it, a stroke. I don't know.
I'm going to go see her this week. So
Great,
I'll
great. Her sister and brother-in-law are back. They're coming back, to Florence to help her. And Mary James is recovering well after her surgery.
Good.
That's all I know about that.
So,
but I do know she's recovering
Drop
well.
one for Evelyn,
Yes,
one for Barb,
yes.
and one for Mary.
And our concerns. One of our care committee callers, Karen Cooper, spoke to Lori Fox. Now remember, our last news of her was that she was recovering from sepsis and was ready to leave the hospital. Well, that was interrupted, and she's been in the hospital, the VA rehabilitation, for 6 weeks in Roseburg with sepsis and E. coli, and in her words, she is relearning life. So all of, anything that you can just intend, pray, however you bring out your love for another, for her, that she comes back to Florence.
Yes.
And Judy Pressler has been diagnosed with lung cancer. She will be treated with immunology therapy. I understand from Judy Plummery that meals have been organized for Judy and her husband Ron. That's right? Okay. Thank you very much, all that are doing that. I end with a final shell for all those that we don't know about, or those of you who are too private about, not too private, but are private about your emotions. We include you here with no less attention. I end with a quote from Matthew Kelly. He's a Catholic priest. Beware of your heart becoming drowsy from the anxieties of life. Beware of your heart becoming drowsy from the anxieties of life. What does this mean? I sat with this for a while. I think it means letting the vicissitudes of the world, the politics, the virus, vaccine debates, the divisiveness, cloud our hearts to the things that are important. Having a moment, an hour, a day of quiet connection or carefree timelessness with a friend, a partner, or a child. May our hearts always remain open to the importance of love and connection. And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
This reading today is by Richard Gilbert, and it's titled Gentleness in Living. Be gentle with one another. It is a cry from the lives of people battered by thoughtless words and brutal deeds. It comes from the lips of those who speak them and the lives of those who do them. Who of us can look inside another and know what is there of hope and hurt, or promise and pain? Who can know from what far places each has come, or to what far places each may hope to go? Our lives are like fragile eggs. They crack and the substance escapes. Handle with care. Handle with exceedingly tender care. For there are human beings within, human beings as vulnerable as we are, who feel as we feel, who hurt as we hurt. Life is too transient to be cruel with one another. It is too short for thoughtlessness, too brief for hurting. Life is long enough for caring. It is lasting enough for sharing, precious enough for love. Be gentle with one another. Blessed be.
Thank you. Thank you, Brooke. I really appreciate that. The reading, wonderful. And thank you, Catherine, for holding gently those shares of joys and concern that have come our way. And I ask that we keep these words and this reading and our friends in mind as you enjoy this musical interlude performed by Jeff Lovejoy. You will recognize the tune. It needs no introduction.
Lovely piece. Before I start my sermon, I do want to share a little bit of news with you. The board and I talked on Wednesday, and my personal plans and trajectory have changed a little bit, and with the understanding that I do not now have plans to move to Portland in the next couple of years, we felt that you all deserved the chance as we come out of this pandemic to have a minister who can be with you in person and continue to grow this ministry best. And so I will continue to be with you for sermons, for meditations through the rest of this year. And I hope that in the fall you will find a wonderful minister ready to continue the growth of this wonderful community with you. And so it is with that in mind that I have written today's sermon in hopes that it helps you in this weekend's visioning retreat as you continue to think about where we are going, who this community is becoming, and what it will look like for a healthy and vibrant future. So, a while back, I was texting with my brother you may also do this thing where you text, and if you text quickly, autocorrect steps in to try and help. Well, autocorrect is an inefficient helper, and it had gotten the best of me. So it was one of those moments where I was typing and swiping and everything looked good, and I hit send. And then I realized that rather than saying, well, I hope you have a good day, I had said, I hope you have a goo day. Sticky? Not a big deal. I don't even know if he would have noticed had the imagery not caught my attention. And so then I continued typing. Yeah, I said, that's what I said. Go get gooey. Turn into mush. Become a puddle today. Have a goo day. And, you know, my brother has known me a long time, so his response was loving and heartfelt. You're a weirdo. Totally fine. It came up again more recently in my memory because I actually believe that this might be the sentiment for this moment. We're in the midst of some things. Everybody is pandemic fine. We're not all having good days, but some of us are definitely having goo days. Maybe a goo month now and then. But this month I've been thinking about caterpillars and butterflies in particular. And when I was little, I thought about caterpillars. You know, you have that classic children's book where the caterpillar eats and eats and eats, it grows and grows and grows, leaves and greenery and I think watermelon and bananas. It's not really a scientifically accurate book, it's a very hungry caterpillar. But it goes through that all and curls up into its little chrysalis. And the way I kind of imagined it as a child was that this fat caterpillar would just kind of step into the chrysalis almost like it was a dressing room and just harden up a little bit, put some wings on, come back out once it had changed. And I've learned more recently it's not like that at all. It is in fact the case that when a caterpillar changes into a butterfly, the first step after forming that chrysalis is that a caterpillar dissolves. It turns into a formless goo. Every cell of its body ceases to have the same structure. It liquefies. Which is amazing. That dissolution of self, it must feel so vulnerable. Rearranging the most basic structure, the raw stuff of self. And I was thinking about this because this past year, none of us have like liquefied into goo, but all of us have built some walls. I'm in a little bit of a chrysalis right now. But we have done this building of space, huddling inward, figuring out what the boundaries are that are safe, that are rigid enough to contain us in a very vulnerable position. So we might not literally dissolve and transform, but we are in a stage of vulnerable transformation. Perhaps relationships have changed, employment, places to live, or ways in which you are choosing to live. We have to think about what it looks like to start again differently. And maybe this has happened to you before at other times in your life. Perhaps Perhaps you transitioned to retirement or took up a second career. Perhaps you have started a new relationship or ended one in a way that truly changed your path. Right now, for all of us in this pandemic time, we've dissolved routines. Expectations of what classes and worship services would look like here in this sanctuary, they've changed drastically and dramatically. Ministry, spiritual support looks oh so different than it did a year ago. If you've gotten sick, you may have dissolved some of your expectations of your body's capacity, of taste and smell, and how you are in the world. How that plays into basic, everyday desires, like enjoying a meal. If you've stayed healthy, it may have come at some cost to your mental health, your friendships. There may have been someone in your life with whom you suddenly realized that you have deep differences around health and safety and how we treat one another in an uncertain world. As a worshiping community, we dissolved that expectation that to be real, we must always be live and in person. We have found that Zoom is not virtual, but real community happening live and in tune with one another, if not physically in the same space. We've dissolved the idea that people are just too old to figure out the technology. I see a mostly down there. But we have realized that we can have church without our idea of a church building. Here's the church, here's the steeple, open the doors to see all the people. That's not how we do church anymore. It's everywhere. It's anywhere that you can pick up a cell phone. It's anywhere you have a computer. It's anywhere there's a telephone. Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, that's already church. And so, if so many of those solid forms have dissolved, then the question, like that of the caterpillar, is what comes out of that? Because we won't just remain goo. Yuck. And also, dangerous. You would crack and drip onto the ground. But becoming something means letting go of some of those ideas of who we've always been, but then finding what have been those good, strong walls that held us in this past year. What inside is becoming something new, vibrant, colorful, that allows us to spread wings. Is it location? Or community care, spirituality, healthy conflict resolution, or the laughter that we share together? So that's this weekend with our visioning process. In some ways, that practice of appreciative inquiry asks, where has the chrysalis been? What here is already good? What has held us? Noticing what is solid. And then the practice of sorting through what has dissolved. What are we missing? What structures do we hope will come back? And And perhaps things will always be different. People may be missing. Those who came back, those who are still coming back, may have different priorities, may be dealing with grief, may have distributed energy and time very differently during this time away. And yet we must find wings to soar. And so that is what we're asking, not just over this weekend, but into the future. We want to know. And what is fascinating, to bring us back to that science of butterflies and compare, even though in that space between, there is no brain any longer, butterflies still have memories of when they were a caterpillar, when they reform. We will still have memories of what was, still have connections and ideals, our grounding values. Those will be the roots that hold us close. And what we choose from there will be the wings to set us free. So as we've asked, what happened during the pandemic that was unexpectedly good? What do we want more of? Where do we go from here? These answers this weekend and moving forward will be informing how you become who you want to be as a church, as individuals, as people aligned by common value and a faith that brings us together into something more than we have ever been alone. Oliver Sacks wrote of people who had undergone illness and suffering, that after the experience, he said, "Many appear now to have come back full circle and to be back where they were. But this, in actuality, is by no means the case. They are no longer the people they were. They have acquired a depth, a fullness, a richness, and an awareness of themselves and of the nature of things, of a sort which is rare and only to be achieved through experience and suffering. They have come to re-feel the grounds of their being, to re-root themselves in the grounds of reality, to return to the first ground, the earth ground, the home ground, from which, in their sickness, they had so long departed." This, dear friends, is us. We are the people this spring returning to the home ground. Not the same, yet not unlike ourselves. Deeper, richer, more fully ourselves. And it's been a while since we've been in society. If you accidentally wear your pajama pants to Sunday worship, that will be okay. And you might. If you find you're having a harder time with those social niceties, the "Hi, how are you? I'm fine. How's the weather?" Don't worry about it. Turns out, as my brother knows, as I know, as I suspect all of you already know in your heart of hearts, being a weirdo is no barrier to being loved. This is a quirky community. There's plenty of room to be authentically and fully every single one of yourselves. The chrysalis of this community is not a changing room in which to hide modestly away from the world, but a formed boundary that has been a protection for doing sacred and transformative work in this space that, at its best, given our time and energy, will launch us into the world with wings on which to soar. So what matters now is that we decide how to arrange ourselves for that future, being gentle and tender with one another and with our community. For this, the goo time is a fragile moment in the life of a butterfly or a community. Don't let that keep you from dreaming big. As our opening hymn reminded us, roots hold us close, wings set us free. Let us be open to where the Spirit moves, where our energies flow. Let what is good be good, and let what is goo be goo. For a time, until it is ready to form again into the body of community. Let us be transformed by this moment, and yet still be ourselves within it all. May it be so.
That's a tough act to follow, Reverend Elizabeth. We are going to miss you.
Yeah.
And we are thankful to you. You have shown us a new way. Your beauty and your soul and where you're heading, who you are becoming, we go with you. Thank you. Oh, the goo days of spring. So at this time, let's talk about our community partner, shall we? Who here, raise your hand, has ever heard of Florence Food Share? Okay, that's 100%. How many of you have ever provided funds or food to Food Share? Okay, that's 100%. I'm asking, if you're listening to this, if you're here today, and you can find it within your heart and soul to contribute to Florence Food Share so they can continue their mission to keep food on the tables of those who are less fortunate, that would be appreciated. If you here today or listening from afar can help provide resources to this fellowship so we can continue our ministry with Reverend Elizabeth in a minor capacity but with a major story, and as we search for our next future. Your contributions will be appreciated to this fellowship as well. You can do either or, and you can do that by sending us a check to P.O. Box 2502, Florence 97439, or go on our website and click on the donate button. It's through PayPal. You can use your own credit card and designate how much you want to Food Share and how much to Food For. We'll take care of that as well. So, as we move forward with that, and as a reminder, repeat after me. Divine love through me.
Divine love through me.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
All that I give.
All that I give.
And all that I receive.
And all that I receive.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Thank you, everybody. So I invite Raina to come forward. We're going to extinguish the light in our chalice, this little flame, and as you extinguish yours at home, with these words: we extinguish this flame but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you. I invite Elizabeth to come back up and offer her closing words.
And our closing reading is by Eric Williams. Blessed is the path on which you travel. Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that heard the call. Blessed is your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift you will receive by going. Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May you go forth in peace.
And speaking of which, shall we sing the peace song?
Let's sing the peace
Let's sing the peace song. Jeff Lovejoy, the peace song. Ray, thank you. Have a great day.